begin tonight with breaking news as we come on the air. A Trotwood officer has been injured after a crash. Now, law enforcement officials say it happened near the intersections of Little Richmond and North Union Road. Jenna Lee Bork is live outside of Miami Valley Hospital at this hour where the officer was taken. So, Jenna Lee, what were you able to learn?
Yeah, Elise, this was a two-vehicle accident, and it did involve a Trotwood police cruiser and another SUV. This happened again on Little Richmond, which was blocked off near Posttown Road. The Trotwood officer was the only person that was brought here to Miami Valley Hospital, but we have not been updated on the condition of the officer at this point. We also know that Ohio State Highway Patrol told us that it's suspected that the driver of the SUV was impaired, but we have not been able to confirm that. Another thing we don't know is if there were any other passengers in that SUV or if the Trotwood officer was responding to a call or responding to any other incident. So I have contacted Trotwood Police multiple times to try to get updates, but we will keep you updated on this story on our website, Dayton247now.com, and social media. Back to you, Elise.
Jenna Lee, thank you. We're also following another breaking news story. These are live pictures. This is I-75 near Carillon Boulevard, where police are right now on the scene of a crash. This happened just before 10 o'clock tonight. We're still working to figure out to learn more, but we do know at least one person has been hurt. You can see some of the lanes of 75 are blocked, but police are still letting some traffic through just through that one lane there. So it's going to be quite slow for a while. This is at Carillon Boulevard yet again in the downtown area. So as soon as we learn more, we'll let you know here on air, but also you could find the very latest at Dayton247now.com. And a bill that could change Ohio's LGBTQ+ children's everyday lives is now waiting for Governor Mike DeWine's approval or rejection. Gwyneth Falloon is live tonight with what you need to know about House Bill 68. So Gwen, can you actually break down this legislation for us?
Elise, I spoke with University of Dayton law professor Erica Goldberg. She tells me that this bill has three main points. The first, those assigned male at birth would not be able to play or participate in women-only sports. The bill also states minors would no longer be able to receive gender-affirming care, such as puberty blockers. That's even with their parents' consent. Finally, any mental health services regarding gender-related topics would have to be approved by at least one parent.
And so what has been the response, I guess, when it comes to this bill?
Elise, people have mixed reactions. Now, those with LGBTQ+ advocacy and support organizations say the bill protects no one, while state representatives in favor of it believe it does protect Ohioans, especially children and female athletes.
Your body is changing in a way that your mind just doesn't quite understand. And it's a terrible conflict. And we're forcing these youth to go through that experience when there are options to help alleviate that.
Biological men ending up on the gold podium over females. It's not just a fairness issue, but it's also a safety issue for women. We're seeing in other states women being harmed by men competing in women-only sports.
Regardless of Governor DeWine's decision, the bill, though, it can still be challenged. However, according to the Associated Press, more than 20 states have similar medical bans or restrictions. That's as of 2021. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. And tonight, troopers are trying to figure out exactly what caused an engine to malfunction on a small plane that forced the pilot to land here in a Greene County field. He made an emergency landing. In fact, it happened near the intersection of Old State Route 35 and Straley Road just after 2 o'clock this afternoon in Xenia Township. Now, according to investigators, the pilot was flying from Columbus to Cincinnati when the engine failed. The pilot was able to land in the plowed field you see there on your screen, and thankfully, no one was hurt. A live look tonight from the Miami Valley Jail's website where this man right here, 28-year-old Michael Stroud Jr. remains in the Montgomery County Jail tonight in connection to a September shooting. According to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Stroud was identified as the shooter after an interview with the victim and after reviewing surveillance video. A warrant was issued for his arrest. Stroud was eventually found inside an apartment in Dayton. He was arrested on felonious assault charges and having carrying weapons under a disability. Now, Stroud was also wanted for aggravated possession of drugs and domestic violence. Montgomery County Sheriff Rob Streck releasing a statement tonight regarding the arrest. He says, quote, removing violent criminals goes beyond solving cases. It's a collective effort with local, state, and federal partners responding to calls, addressing threats, and ensuring Montgomery County remains a place where residents feel protected. Tonight, the Dayton Police Department is now asking for more than $800,000 for more automated license plate readers. However, some community members are fighting back. Lydia Bice explains they're demanding stricter guidelines for how they're allowed to use those cameras.
Members of the Coalition on Public Protection held a press conference in downtown Dayton this afternoon to share their concerns about automated license plate readers. Now, I'm going to step out of the way here to show you exactly what one of those readers looks like here on Wayne Avenue. Now, these residents are concerned about their privacy, potential misuse of the info collected by these cameras, and they want proof from DPD about whether this technology is truly effective. However, the Dayton Police Department says this technology has been beyond helpful.
In October, we had a rape kidnapping incident. That camera caught the suspect vehicle, which resulted in the arrest of that suspect at the North Main Marathon Station, 1825, very rapidly.
Today I reached out to the mayor, the city manager, and all of the Dayton City Commissioners, and unfortunately none of them were able to meet with me to talk about this today, but they did say they would schedule an interview with me at the next Dayton City Commission meeting on Wednesday, December 20th. Now, the City Commission will vote on this new contract with Flock within the next few weeks, and if approved, Flock license plate readers will be in the city of Dayton through 2028. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. Well, the list of cities enacting marijuana moratoriums is growing tonight. Xenia City Council leaders passing a one-year moratorium on the sale of recreational marijuana by cannabis owners and operators, I should say, and dispensaries within city limits. The city previously passed an emergency moratorium. Tonight's decision is just a continuation of that. This is happening as lawmakers in the State House continue to make tweaks to Issue 2 after Ohioans approved it in November. Here's Xenia's city manager providing his reasoning for the council's decision.
This will provide sufficient time for the state to make determinations on regulations for these things, as well as for us then to evaluate that and provide some policy analysis and recommendation back to council.
So here's what state lawmakers are discussing. Since the issue passed, it is now legal to smoke weed for recreational purposes. However, the state is looking to limit the number of marijuana plants someone can actually grow in their home from 12 to 6. State leaders are also considering a 10% wholesale tax on big business. Governor Mike DeWine has been pushing for tweaks since the issue passed. A bill passed in the Senate but has not moved through the House. And just like I mentioned, Xenia is not alone in these moratoriums. Kettering passed a 9-month moratorium just last month. They've also been passed in Vandalia, Miamisburg, and in Centerville. Well, moving on to weather tonight, it was actually a nice day, very sunny out there. So if we like today, we're going to like tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's going to be nice, even warmer than we were today, which is going to be an even better change. We have 30s currently, so it is chilly. If you're out there right now, chilly evening, you'll need a coat, but it is December, so it's a typical cold night for us. 37 in Dayton, we got 38 in Sydney, 30 in Wapakoneta, so it is a little chilly, but we are warmer compared to this time yesterday for most of us, with the exception of Richmond sitting 2 degrees cooler compared to this time yesterday. Now heading into the day tomorrow, still a cold start for the kids out at the bus stop. They'll need a coat. It'll be in the 20s, and frost still likely early tomorrow morning, just like these past couple of mornings. But we get into the 50s by the afternoon. Lots of sunshine is expected. Few more clouds by the second half of the day tomorrow ahead of our next weather maker. I'll track that storm system and what we're expecting for the weekend coming up.
Well, tonight we're learning what may have caused a deadly bus crash, killing 6 people on I-70 in Licking County last month. The NTSB released its preliminary report. Terry Sullivan walks us through it.
According to the NTSB, the driver of a semi operated by Mid-State Systems Incorporated was westbound in the right lane of I-70. The report says he didn't slow down when he came upon a backup that had formed due to an earlier crash. The report says the semi then hit the back of a Nissan Murano with 3 people inside. The report says the semi overrode the Nissan and collided with the rear of the charter bus carrying a driver and 54 passengers from Tusky Valley schools. The impact causing a huge fire to break out. The bus then struck the back of a Toyota Highlander, which rotated counterclockwise and hit the side of another semi. Then the charter bus slammed into that same semi. The 3 people in the Nissan and 3 bus passengers were killed. Several others were injured. The NTSB says all aspects of the crash remained under investigation while they determine the probable cause. I'm Terry Sullivan reporting.
Coney Island not reopening in the new year or ever again. What is next for the future of the park? And a Miami University sorority under investigation tonight for racist behaviors. Coming up, why some students are debating if the evidence is even real.
And rain potentially transitioning to some snowfall by next week. I'll be tracking that. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
We're following another breaking news story tonight. Now, police are right now investigating after a security guard walked into a hospital shot. This happened around 10 o'clock tonight. According to officials with the Montgomery County Regional Dispatch, the security guard worked for Sugar's Lounge in Dayton. We're still working to learn if the security guard was shot in the lounge itself. Police are investigating. As soon as we learn more, of course, we'll update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Well, a Miami University sorority is now under investigation following leaked text messages alleging racism. The sender asks a Delta Gamma recruit to delete any posts with her and another black girl because it's a, quote, bad look. Paige Barnes reports why students are debating if the texts are even real.
These messages are coming to light 3 weeks before the recruitment deadline. It was shared on the anonymous social media app Yik Yak. The sorority says the viral post falsely depicts one of their members and that they can confirm it was not sent by one of them. We contacted the chapter and National to learn how they were able to verify the text, but have not heard back. Oxford Police Department has taken over the investigation as a possible telecommunications harassment crime. 3 Miami students planning to rush in the spring think it was leaked due to a grudge.
Very taken back. Like, there's no one's saying that anymore, and at all ever. They shouldn't be saying that at all. And I'd be very surprised if it came out to be real.
In Oxford, Paige Barnes.
The university's Office of Equity and Equal Opportunity is reviewing the post to determine next steps. Delta Gamma says it's working with officials to find the source of the post as well.
Well, quiet evening and a cold one out there. Still could see maybe a few meteors across the area as the Geminids meteor shower is still ongoing, although last night was the peak. But we have clear skies tonight, so you may be able to still see a few. Next, weather makers back off to our west, so active weather stretching through the plains. This area of low pressure will head its way through, and we have a few things we'll be working with by the weekend. Pretty potent storm system will be riding up the east coast, and then eventually we'll see some cold air slide in, which could bring a few snowflakes. But for now, it's quiet. 20s to start off the day tomorrow. Clouds increase, highs in the lower 50s tomorrow afternoon. Heading into our Saturday, we start out with cloudier skies, and then by Saturday afternoon, 50s continue. Saturday night, rain builds in. So we are planning on rain during our Sunday. Sunday, soggy conditions expected as the storm system heads its way through. But by Monday, we're looking at blustery conditions. Colder air will be sliding in, and then potentially a transition to some snowfall. Scattered snow showers possible by the second half of the day on Monday into early Tuesday, with much colder air taking over. I'll have more on that coming up here in just a bit.
An Ohio staple now announcing it is closing its doors forever. Coney Island says it will close permanently at 10 p.m. on New Year's Eve. The Cincinnati Park says anyone who bought season passes for 2024 will be refunded. This after the park was sold to the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and Music and Event Management Incorporated. Now, Music and Event Management Incorporated own Riverbend Music Center in Cincinnati. The company announcing on Twitter it's planning to build a $118 million venue at Coney Island. These are pictures of the renderings of the company posted to X. The goal is to make a must-play stop for top acts in the music industry while aiming to be the country's top amphitheater. A preliminary design for the facility is still in the works, with additional information coming in the coming weeks and months. Now, Coney Island has been around for 137 years and served as an inspiration for other theme parks. Luke Jones sat down with a Coney Island archivist to look back at the park's history.
It's a sight to behold. Not the lights, all the people pulling into Coney Island for their last chance to see Nights of Lights before the park shuts down December 31st.
I was very shocked.
Sarah Staples is an archivist at the Cincinnati Museum Center. She'd just begun researching Coney Island a few days before the news broke.
It's just coincidence like crazy.
The park opened in 1886. In those days, most visitors arrived by steamboat.
Coney Island started off as an orchard and a picnic ground, and then they did add rides.
This will be the second time Cincinnati bids farewell to Coney Island. It closed for 2 years in the 70s. There's even this book, Goodbye Coney Island, Goodbye.
Kings Island had kind of taken over that piece of the pie.
The park reopened in 1973, but in 2019, did away with its rides and became a water park exclusively. At Coney Island, I'm Luke Jones.
And we now know tonight the water main break at the intersection of Dayton Liberty Pike and Germantown Pike is now repaired. That 16-inch water main break caused issues for several hours. At this point, though, we're told there is no need for a boil advisory. And a record-setting year for property values in Montgomery County.
So once you add all of those things in, we thought we'd pass the $40 billion mark, and we did, almost $41 billion, which is a record-setting highest level total property value in the county's history, a 29% increase.
Now, Keith's discussion also focused on the local real estate market trends in the county, and more than 60 local officials gathered for the event. A live look now from our Eco Plumbers Skycam. Let's send it straight out to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters.
Well, cold one out here right now on our Watson's weather patio, but it is a quiet evening and we are planning on a calm night for us. Still pretty chilly, but the good news is by the weekend we got some milder weather still in the way. We have 50s for our Saturday, so a little sneak peek at the weekend. 50s in the forecast with cloudier conditions on Saturday, but Sunday, different story. We got rain that's making its way in, and I mentioned earlier rain potentially transitioning to a few snowflakes during the day on Monday as temperatures continue to fall. Colder air will slide in, highs back into the lower 30s on Tuesday. So we'll have a look at the 7-day with the latest on that coming up.
160 families now have gifts for their kids this Christmas. A look at the distribution and how this was able to be possible tonight. And Woodland Lights is back again this year to bring holiday spirit to Washington Township. Up next, everything you need to know before heading out for some of that Christmas cheer. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Nearly 160 families in the Bellbrook Sugar Creek community now have Christmas gifts for their children. Toys, board games, and clothes were all donated. Organizers taking the time tonight to thank donors as well as volunteers who helped put this event on.
This is probably a statistic most people don't know, but the value of a volunteer hour in 2022 was over $31 an hour. That's the value. So when you're as small as we are, that number, we could never do what we do without all of those volunteer hours.
More than 1,600 items were donated this year. That is up from previous years. Washington Township also in the holiday spirit. The woodland lights are shining bright and a perfect place to take a nice stroll at night. Tage Joshi, was there tonight and shows us what to expect when we head on out.
This is a truly magical place. The woodland lights in Washington Township. I mean, look behind me. This is one of the best views here. A perfect pond with lights everywhere puts you in the holiday spirit. Now, the fountain there in the middle that changes colors, that is new this year. And I want to tell you a lot more about everything else they have here this year. Of course, if you come visit, now that they're open, you can go see Santa in his cabin. You can get some great hot chocolate. They have carriage rides here. The main thing you need to know, there are so many beautiful lights to see, and you can walk here, and it's a paved path. So you can bring a stroller, you can bring a wheelchair, whatever it is that you need to do to bring your family and enjoy this staple of the holiday experience right here in the Miami Valley. I love it here. I feel enchanted when I visit, and I hope you guys get to have that experience too. Of course, back to you guys in the studio.
Well, just a few more days to go until the much anticipated men's basketball game between Dayton and Cincinnati, and the Flyers will be going for their 5th straight win. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.